Hi, my name is Kelsey Page, and I'm currently an in-home child care provider. I work with children who range from 7 months old to 5 years old. I've been working with children for over 25 years, and I absolutely love it, and I want to continue to work with children or older students. What is my research topic? The research topic I chose to conduct was understanding if a professional learning community, PLC, increases elementary EL students' academic performance and English standards by focusing on educator preparation and family involvement. Why do I want to investigate this topic? The reason why I chose to investigate this topic was that I continue to see that general educators were stating that they were not properly prepared to support EL students within the classroom environment. Hearing this led me want to investigate further to see if this issue is becoming fixed or if general educators will continue to state that they were not properly prepared to support EL students. Explain the research question and how it aligned with the data collection approach. My research question was through understanding if there was a correlation between the implementation of PLC and educator success in improving English Common Core standards in EL students. In addition, the purpose of the research study is to see if there's also a correlation between PLC and an increase in EL family involvement. My question aligned with the data collection approach by implementing a mixed method design to gather data from my participants. My mixed method approach encouraged participants to fully express their true feelings to gain an understanding of how prepared educators were to support EL students, as well as how third grade EL students felt about the support they were receiving within their school system. My data collection approach also led to have EL families as participants and express their feelings and how they were being supported within their school system. How do you plan to find answers for the research question? The way I plan to find answers for my research question is through using a mixed method research design to gather data on my participants. There will be 3 instruments used within the research study. There will be a pre-test, a post-test, and an in-person interview. The quantitative pre-test and post-test survey will be only given to third grade general educators, ESL educators, principals, and staff participants. Questions during both the pre-test and post-test survey will contain 30 close-ended questions that will be answered using a 5-point Likert scale to help express participants' true feelings. A 5-point Likert scale is used to rate questions through the highest and lowest ratings. The qualitative in-person interview will only be for the participants of the EL students and their EL families. During the in-person interview, questions will be open-ended to encourage responses to be truthful and expressing and have participants express their true feelings of how they feel. To tally scores on the pre-test, post-test, and in-person interviews, I will use a thematic software program to analyze and sort data collected. I'll also use a cross-tabulation as a method to analyze the relationship between the multiple variables that were given in both the surveys and the live interviews. After data is analyzed, I plan on placing the results on 2 graphs. What were your resources? The resource that I used to collect information on my topic was through using the National University Library. I personally felt the National University Library was a great resource to have access to. It was easy to use and had lots of great articles on the topic I was conducting my research paper on. The other research I used to find my articles was online, as well as my critical friend John. John was a great resource to have. He was supportive and helpful. Anytime I had a question, he even sent examples to questions I had. I also enjoyed working with John because I was able to learn about his research topic as well. What is your methodology? To conduct my research, my first plan is to send a proposal of the research study to both public elementary schools and third grade EL families. After the proposal is given to the participants, a consent form will be sent out via letter to both public elementary school participants, EL families, and third grade EL students. Consent will be collected from third grade general educators, ESL educators, principals, staff members, third grade EL families, and third grade EL students. After the consent is received, a follow-up in-person meeting will be scheduled to see if participants had any questions or concerns. After the meeting, the researcher will schedule time to begin the research study. The researcher will begin the research study by going to both schools to hand out the pretest survey to the ESL educator, general third grade educator, principals, and staff members. The pretest survey will contain 30 closed-ended questions that will be answered using a 5-point Likert scale to help express participants' true feelings. After the pretest is given, the first sample of the participants, one of the schools will begin the implementation of PLC within their school system, while the other school remains unchanged. Educators who will be implementing PLC will set a schedule to meet at least 2 times a week to conduct a PLC meeting. During the PLC interaction, participants will focus on the specific problem of EL students' academic performance in English Common Core standards. During the PLC interaction, participants will also focus on EL family involvement and educator preparation. While PLC is being implemented in one of the schools, the researcher will set a scheduled time in both public schools to first interview with EL students and then with their families, the EL families. During the interview, the researcher will give participants open-ended questions to help motivate them to answer truthfully. Both EL students and EL families' interviews will be recorded and transcribed to ensure that all data is collected properly. At the end of the research study, the researcher will go back to both schools to give a post-test survey. The post-test survey will also again be the general third grade educators, ESL educators, staff members, and principals. The post-test survey will also have 30 closed-ended questions and will be analyzed through using a 5-point Likert scale. To tally scores on the pre-test, post-test, and in-person interviews, the researcher will use a Thermatic software program to analyze and sort the data. The researcher will also use a cross-tabulation to analyze the relationship between the multiple variables that were given during the interviews. After the data is collected and analyzed, the results will be placed on 2 graphs. Finally, if I can travel back in time, what advice would I give to myself? If I could travel back in time, I'd give the advice I would give myself in terms of strategies for curating research would find more data around my topic to expand the data I initially received. In addition, I struggled branching out in research that is based around my questions, so I feel like I need to have more of a variety of knowledge around it. In addition, I would also like to give my advice on looking on completed research paper to understand the required section in each part of the research paper. Additionally, I believe I did okay on the time management skills when it came to finding research and creating my research paper. My plans for after completing my master's degree is to start my student teaching, so I can hopefully start teaching on my own next fall. I personally would love to become an elementary school teacher who taught students who were in the grades kindergarten through 4th grade.